Hello everyone, it's Brave here again. I just wanted to talk about what it feels like to be an empath. And for those of you who don't realise, being an empath is more than just caring about others or going out your way to help others. It's actually a gift. And when I say a gift, it's similar to like how you might say someone's a psychic medium and they can talk to spirits, or they can receive messages about the future and things like that. And I'm talking about the positive psychic mediums, not anyone who does dark things or black magic. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who are light workers, who only deal with good energies and who only want the best for others. So, but yeah, being an empath is an actual gift. When I say gift, it means that from a very young age, I knew what others were feeling, even if they were pretending they were okay. I could just feel the energy coming off them, that they were sad, something was seriously bothering them. And people also picked up on the fact that my energy genuinely wanted to help. And so I could be 12 years old, and I was very tall for my age. I was always much older looking than my age. So, for instance, when I was, let's say, 1 years old, I looked 4 years old. When I was 5 years old, I looked about seven. When I was 10, I looked about 15, like very, very overdeveloped. And now I'm like 5'11" for a female. That's pretty tall. And, but yeah, the thing that I used to notice when I was younger was adults would just start telling me their problems, and I'm a child. And even though that seems like a lot to pile on a child, telling a child about adult problems, but I didn't have a problem with it. I was somehow able to calm them down, even give them advice, which sounds ridiculous that a 12-year-old could see the problem in an adult's situation. But I think probably because I was given so many adult responsibilities as a small child, from I'd say the age of 10 upwards, my mum, because she was a incapable person, she wasn't very grown up. It was like I was like the parent and she was like the child, and that was due to her personality disorder, which meant she wasn't able to function like a proper responsible grown up. And when I was, very young, she would get me to talk to people on the phone, like as if I was the person, the adult in the house. And she would get me to like talk to the council who own the house and set up appointments, and like all these things. And then because my it was like a one parent home, because my dad abandoned us and he would just come in and out every 5 years, it seemed, and then he would just show up and be violent and then disappear again. And so there was no man around the house to kind of do those typical male things like change a tire or change a light bulb or check the electric in the house or whatever. So I knew how to do all these things because my mum had to, you know, do the male jobs and the female jobs, I guess you could say. That old fashioned gender role thing where the woman's supposed to stay at home with the kids and the man's meant to go out and work. Well, we couldn't have that because there was no man. And like it was weird for me because I wanted to go out and play as a normal kid would, but at the same time I had this very mature personality. So even though I was just 10, I was extremely intelligent, extremely empathic, because I was an actual empath, not just a friendly child or a caring child. So my empath gift was just always there, meaning that I would take on everyone else's problems and want to solve everyone else's problems and kind of put myself second. And then that kind of turned into a little bit of what you might call people pleasing, because there was that feeling of I'm responsible for everyone. I have to make sure everyone's happy. It is my reason for being here. That's what it felt like. And I've spoken to other empaths as well, male and female, and it does tend to be the female empaths that kind of have this extra overwhelming feeling to help. I know male empaths have it too, but the male empaths can kind of help and then shake off the feeling of needing to save everyone, whereas the female empaths I've spoken to said that they felt it stuck to them, everyone's pain and problems, and it was harder to shake off. And I totally understand what they mean by that, because I would literally watch the news, hear about, wars or terrible atrocities happening somewhere else, and it would stay with me, the thought of, oh my gosh, I can't save them. Why is this happening? And even though I had things closer to home that I needed to worry about, it's like the empath gift is kind of like a gift and a curse. It's like, on one hand, you really can save a life with your healing. You can literally, someone can come to you and be like, I don't want to be here anymore, I'm ready to check out. And then they have one conversation with you as an empath, and you help them see, well, this leads back to this trauma is affecting you now, this is why you feel this way. If we can just find a way through this, then you can move through far enough to cope better. And then, it was just like, so it came so natural to me to just know how to fix other people. And I don't mean that in a braggy way, like, oh, I'm so great, I can fix anyone. No, I don't mean that at all. I mean, like, it's almost like it was just like a gift. The gift gave me that ability to see into other people and see their problems so quick. And weirdly, like, it used to feel like, why can't I solve my own grief and stress and trauma as easily as I can help other people? I just didn't know why I could. It took me a long time to realize I can heal myself, but for a long time it felt like I wasn't able to turn that healing inwards to myself. So I did eventually get to that point where, oh, I should be healing myself, I should be helping myself. Why am I not filling my own head with the kind words and the love and the care I give others, but I think the reason why I didn't do that was a lot of external negative influences, having nasty family members who were jealous of you. A lot of them had narcissistic personality disorder in my family due to trauma in their own childhood, so then they weren't able to cope with that trauma, so their mind split and it became a personality disorder. And they're diagnosed with that. That's not me just guessing, because I didn't know what it was even called. I just knew their behavior was very off, very weird, violent, cruel. So to me, it was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of weird for me to stop and try and heal myself. I always used to think, I need to get through this trauma, I need to get over this trauma, or I need to not let it affect me. But it took such a long time for me to realize how badly my childhood was controlling decisions I made now as an adult. So, for instance, you wouldn't think that your dad abandoning you would even affect the way you as a female would see men. You would think, well, he wasn't there, so why would I be affected by his influence? He wasn't even there. But that's actually how it affected me. The fact that he abandoned me, the fact that he wasn't there, the fact that when he was there he was violent, and when he was there he made it clear he didn't care about me, and he even verbalized this. He made it clear verbally, he made it clear with his actions. He really rubbed it in our faces that he didn't care. It's like he got pleasure out of our pain, you could say. And because of that, I think when I grew up and became around, like, began to hang out with males, when you're like 18, like, some people hang out a lot younger with the opposite sex, but I had been very into my studies and had been so busy with helping everyone and my family and always looking after everyone around me, that I didn't even have time to be a child. I like below age 10, I felt like I managed to be a child. But as soon as I got to like 7, 8, 9, that was when I think I started to have more autonomy, meaning like I could feel like separate from my mum and start to talk back and question things. And she didn't like that. Once she saw that, oh, you're not a little robot that I control anymore, you're starting to question me, or you're starting to say, no, I don't want to do that, or that's not right. Why are we doing this? Or I don't understand why I have to do that unreasonable thing you just told me to do, And then there was that pushback of, I'm going to tell the teachers you're beating me, or I'm going to tell Childline, which is like a line that children who are being hurt or abused can phone and get help. And then with those kind of statements that I'm making, saying, if you hit me again, I'm going to tell the teacher, it got worse, because then the person who's the narcissist, my mum, had to step up her fear inducing behavior to try and get back control over this child, which is me. But I always had such a strong spirit. They couldn't break my spirit. I was always very, very strong. Even from a young age, had very strong will. People call it stubbornness, but I call it just, it's more than that. It's not being stubborn for no reason. It's standing your ground, and because what's happening is wrong, and it's just very strange. It's like being an empath. You knew that you were different. Like, you knew that other people didn't have the same depth of care as you. Like, you didn't understand why, but you could clearly see, why do I care more about this and no one else seems to care? This is serious. People should care. People should stand up for each other. What's going on? So for me, it was extremely strange to see how little the community cared about each other. There was a lot of violence in my community. So, I wasn't the only child being beaten or, made to feel afraid in their own home. But it was like the parents would hide it under the disguise of, oh, it's discipline. Oh, she was out of line. She was talking back. She was being rude, saying that the children deserve to be beaten because they're talking back, or stupid excuses, when that's not true, because sometimes you didn't even speak and then you were being hit for no reason. But yeah, it's very, being an empath, I would say, the times when it's positive, when I've come across someone, whether I knew them well or not, like I remember, like, sometimes people would come up to me in the street if we've been at a bus stop for a while, and they just say, I know I can tell you what I'm going through and you won't judge me. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, why do you think that? Even though I know it's true. But they'll be like, oh, I've just been having this really tough time in my life. And they'll just start telling me everything. And I'll be like, okay, I'll listen. And sometimes I'll miss my bus because I'll be, feeling like, well, this person needed to let that out. Let me give them some time. So even if I was like busy, I might say, let's keep walking because I am on my way somewhere, but I want to listen to you so you can walk with me. And obviously you don't want to let just any stranger walk with you, but if I can sense that they don't mean me any harm, then I can sense that. And so, yeah, many times that has happened where people just don't know why, but they're just compelled to tell me their stress and their problem. And then what I tell them, even if I try and, say it as more of a suggestion, because I don't like to tell people what to do, but at the same time, it's like I'm trying to give you advice in a way that is more of a suggestion, also offering you comfort and kindness. But it's just strange that, like, when I need someone, there really is rarely anyone there. That's the thing that I learned, that I have to self-soothe. And I wish I'd learnt that sooner. I kept looking outside of myself for someone to do for me what I'm doing for others, heal me the way I'm healing others, rescue me the way I'm rescuing everyone else. And I really wish I'd realised that no one's coming to save you sometimes. You really do have to save yourself. You really have to be so mentally strong. It's not even important to be physically strong sometimes. You really need that mental strength to get you through a lot, because if you fall to pieces mentally every time something goes wrong, even if it's super awful what's happening, it's like you have to be able to regain your strength mentally. And I'm not saying that people can't break down and grieve and cry, and whether they're male or female, I think it's important for people to express their emotions. I know a lot of people feel embarrassed to cry in front of others or talk to even their family or friends. They feel, you know, not heard, or they feel like, oh, no one will care. And sometimes, sadly, your friends and family don't know how to respond to you when you have a lot going on. Sometimes they feel like they can't cope with their stress, so they pretend everything's okay. And when you try to be real and say, this is really hurting me, or this is so stressful, I don't know how to cope, it reminds them of the fact that they are in denial about their stress. They don't know how to cope. And it sort of triggers them into like a delusional space where, no, everything's fine, stop saying it's not, everything's fine, I've convinced, they've convinced themselves everything's fine. And then you come in and hold, the flag up saying everything's not fine. And then it sort of panics their defense mechanism, because for them, the defense mechanism that stops them falling to pieces is pretending everything's fine. And that is what a lot of people do. If I was to be asked by someone, are you okay? How are things? If I know they're not really going to care that I'm going through something, I'll say, yeah, I'm fine, not too bad. And even if they hear it in my voice that, wait, something's wrong, if I know they don't care, I'm not going to even bother to tell them this is what I'm going through. Because I've had that in the past where someone asked me, are you okay? And I said, well, no, actually, I'm going through this, this, and this. And they had the cheek to say, oh my God, I wish I never asked. And I was like, oh my God, why would you say you wish you never asked me? So clearly you didn't care how I was. Whereas when I ask someone, are you all right? Even if it's a passing greeting, I genuinely would care if you were not okay and you wanted to talk. And even if I didn't plan to spend a lot of time talking to you, I would give you that time. Because I remember like so many times when I needed someone to talk to and there was no one there, and I had to learn to self-soothe myself, but it still made me really resentful. That was one thing I noticed. I got really resentful at the fact that there was never anyone there when I needed someone, even if it was a 5-minute chat, even if it was just someone even to pretend and say, hey kid, everything's going to be okay. You want to believe that even if it wasn't true, but in that moment it would have soothed you. I don't know, it's just strange to me how, being an empath for all these years and remembering how many people I helped bring them up from rock bottom, sorry, bring them up, encourage them, get them through, bring them back from the brink of wanting to check out, and take themselves out of here, only for those people to go run off with that beautiful loving feeling, no thank you to me, by the way, just run off into the arms of someone else. And you think, wow, it's funny how they're going to now uplift that person with all the good positive energy I've given them, but I don't get any back. They didn't do a exchange of kindness. They didn't think, wow, you really saved my life with your words. Let me do the same for you. Let me just give you back some of the goodness you gave me. Nope, some of them, not all of them, but some of them were really selfish. They took and took and took until you were squeezed out like a juice box carton, you know what I mean? And then they throw you away and then run off with all the energy you've given them. And shower someone else with their magnanimous feeling because they're happy now, and that's what I never understood, and that would give me a lot of resentment, build up a lot of resentment in me, and I hate to feel resentment against people, but it's hard not to when you go out of your way, when you genuinely care, and people don't understand that it should be an exchange of kindness. If I do good for you, it would be nice if you did the same back for me, you know? So that's one thing that is a regular occurrence, people not appreciating you, people taking you for granted, people even accusing you of being fake. Like, because they've never come across a good person before, when they come across you and you genuinely care, you genuinely want to help, you genuinely try to offer some pure kindness, you know, no agenda, no hidden, you know, like you're not trying to scam them or trick them or anything. You literally just want to be there for them as one human being to another. You feel their pain, you know, you want them to feel better, you know, any way you can, you just want to be there for them. And they, for whatever reason, you know, it could be their trauma, it could be personality disorders, it could be so many things that just block them from, you know, accepting your kindness, accepting your love, accepting your friendship, you know. And I get it, because there have been times when I felt like there are people who have hurt me so badly, I'm not going to trust anyone else again. I'm not going to let anyone else get so close to me that they can stab me in the back, you know, and the front and the head and the foot, you know what I mean? Like, and so it is kind of understandable. I do understand why people would have those defense mechanisms, why they would kind of look at you sideways like, are you for real? Because you're too good to be true, so I don't believe it. And it is a shame that the world is such a horrible place that real, genuine, kind people are looked at with suspicion, because there are so many bad people who will use the cloak of kindness to trick you, who will pretend to be there for you and then in your darkest moment drop you, kick you when you're down. You know, there are con artists, horrible, sneaky, snaky people out there. And I've been, you know, tricked by people because they mimicked my kindness, they mimicked my, you know, honor, my bravery, my dignity, my integrity, and they made me think they were like me. They made me think that I could trust them. They, you know, and these are like ex-husband, ex-partners, you know, ex-boyfriends. They had, you know, after I've left them, I realized that, they had a severe narcissistic personality disorder that caused them to do that to me. And they were diagnosed. This isn't me just making up words and throwing words out there. These are people who, they were diagnosed with that condition. And when I met them, I didn't know this. I didn't know that they were that. And then for me, it was, you know, a very, very hard relationship, because being a person who gives and gives and gives, and they're being a person who takes and takes and takes, it was, you know, there's a point where I will give you everything, but then I'm going to get resentful that, wait a minute, you're not giving anything back. There's no 50-50 reciprocation here, and I'm going to start to get angry that you're not giving back. Or the thing that really got me upset was they would give and give to everyone else but you. That was the kicker. That was the thing that really drove me nuts, was, why are you giving to everyone else like a show? You're doing it for show. You're doing it to get the reputation of being amazing and kind, and yet I am actually the real deal, kind, generous, helpful, but I'm not getting any, you know, my reputation, people are getting jealous of me because they're like annoyed that you really are kind, you really are helpful, you really are brave, you really, and instead of them improving their personalities or improving them themselves, really. They would look at you and hate the things in you that they're lacking in themselves. And that was something that happened so often. It was really, really getting boring. It was like, not again. Is this really happening again? So every group of people I would be part of, if it was a military regiment, if it was a music group I joined, like anything, you go to a cooking class and there's 20 people in there, and half of them would be jealous of you because you cook better than them, or you learnt the recipe quicker than them, or people show you more attention, or you dress better than them. I mean, it is so exhausting. Like, I've had this like my whole life, just people acting jealous of me, even when I had nothing. They could have a big house, cars, money, but they're not very good looking. And then I might come in and, just wearing cheap basic clothes, come from a rough family, not had very much. Anything I had achieved, I had to really scrape and scratch to get it, really had to work so hard by myself to get anything. And then they would be jealous just because you put on a nice brooch that day, you did your hair nice that day, your makeup looks better than theirs, your nose is a bit straighter than theirs. It's just, oh my God, like, get a life. I mean, all those material things that the world tells you are so important, when these people get it, they're still not happy. I mean, anyway, that's a video for another time about superficial humans and their their pursuit of fake happiness with ridiculous surgeries and who knows. But yeah, so back to what it's like to be an empath. I keep going off on a tangent. Sorry about that. One thing you'll notice about me in my videos is I'll be talking about one subject and it will remind me of a memory or many memories, and I'll start telling you all about the different memories and how they interchange and trigger another memory. So yeah, basically I tell long stories. But like, yeah, being an empath is not easy. I think it is important to have empaths in the world, because just being here to raise the vibration of others, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I feel like it's important to have good people on this earth to counter the bad. There's so much bad and evil in this world. And if, you have to have in a weird way, you have to balance the scales, even though you would prefer there be only all good and no evil. But if you think of the scales, like the scales of justice, when you see it being held up, outside the courthouse or whatever, and then you think about it, how, you don't want you don't want bad and evil to exist, but if there's enough good, I just wish there was more good in the world to stamp out the bad. And yes, it would be, in an ideal world, it would be amazing to stamp out all the bad. But the reality is there will always be bad. There will always be evil. And like, if you look at my other videos where I talk about what I've been shown through my psychic gifts about why we are here, and friends of mine and other people who have had near-death experiences, and they went to the other side and were told what the purpose of our lives are, coming here, and why we go through trauma and terrible things, and what is supposed to be the purpose, and what we're supposed to, achieve after we die and go home to our true home, which is a spirit realm. Like, if you look at my other videos and listen to what was said in that, you'll have a better idea of what I'm referring to now. So yeah, it's just very, very hard being an empath sometimes, and that's why people describe it as a gift and a curse. Sometimes even people wish away their gift. Sometimes I say to myself, gosh, I wish I didn't have this gift, because it's so overwhelming to feel the world's pain, to always feel the collective despair, because you've got your own trauma, your own pain, then you can feel the collective pain. And I'm not joking about that. When COVID and other things and world disasters happened, I could literally feel the collective pain to the point where I couldn't sleep sometimes. And then I remember when people were wearing masks and in the beginning, like in 2020, end of 2020, and people were really in fear. And oh my gosh, the fear of people just looking at each other and scared to touch anything and scared to go near each other. And it was so overwhelming. It was really strange. I mean, I'm not laughing. That's when I laugh, I'm not laughing at the thing I'm saying. It's just that's just the way I talk. But it was just when I laugh, I'm just like, oh my god, it's just it feels it sounds absurd because if I say yeah, I can feel everyone's feelings, everyone's pain, and you'd be like, shut up, that's rubbish. But no, it is really as crazy as it sounds. It is real, and it's like if I go in crowds, I hate being in crowds because I literally feel like everyone's energy is on top of me. It feels like people are throwing wet blankets on you. It's weird. It's most people will understand, people who have some type of psychic gift who can feel energy and stuff, but oh my gosh, like sometimes I really need to pull away from people and literally just spend time alone. Like I actually enjoy time alone away from people. I only want to be around people who I know have good energy and good intentions towards me, because even family members don't have good intentions towards you sometimes. At least in my experience, that is what happened because of their narcissistic personality disorder. It didn't, they weren't able to be happy for you, to love you normally. They were jealous of every little thing you did. They hated if you were happy. They would literally smile when you were unhappy. You know, how sad is that? That's a very painful thing to deal with when you are a person who you want to have a tight knit family. You would love to be there for them. You take a bullet for them. You would always, you know, be their shoulder to cry on, and they really would not be there for you. They really wish you the worst. They don't care if you're homeless. They don't care if you know, if you were going to die or something. They are just not able to connect with you, yet they would care more about strangers, or at least put on the fake act of caring about strangers in order to get attention, you know. um but yeah, like I said, just it feels like a gift and a curse, you know, because people have told me that when I've spoken to them and I've sat and listened to them, and they say you really saved my life, just sitting and letting me vent, and you talking back to me, giving me advice and helping me work through all my trauma and stuff. You didn't have to do that, but you did, and I appreciate it. And you know, that really warms my heart. It genuinely makes me feel happy to make others happy. So there is that feeling of to be of service is so important. I do believe, like, when we're here down on this earth plane, this earth school where we're supposed to learn stuff, one of the greatest and most important things is to show kindness and compassion. I don't think people realize how important that is. When you go out into the world and you come across other people, I think it's really hard in this society to want to even go near people, let alone look for the opportunities to show kindness and compassion, because there's so many horrible, cruel, nasty people. You have to always have your guard up. And I kind of worry when I see people who have kind of like a false sense of security. They kind of don't realize how there's so many dangerous people out there. People just wandering off with strangers and meeting strangers online who they've talked to once online and ending up getting hurt or worse. You know, young kids and people just wandering off with people they've met online once. I mean, I am really shocked to hear all this. So, you know, yes, it's good to show compassion and kindness, but don't be a fool. Don't be open to every fake, you know, like people can be fake to you. People on the internet especially can pose as someone else. I mean, there's the two sides of the coin. Like, be kind, compassionate, brave, honorable, be dignified, have integrity, but don't be a fool. Why does being a kind, normal, decent person require you to be a fool? It doesn't. Like, who said that? You don't have to be a fool. You can be tough as nails and kind as well. Show compassion as well. You don't have to be a fool, you know, a lovey-dovey, open arms person. You can be a person with strict boundaries. You can make it clear what those boundaries are, and you can still be compassionate. You can still show love. You can still show kindness at the end of the day. But yeah, I just think for any empaths out there who are just wishing their gifts away and stuff, because it's too much, it's overwhelming to feel everything all the time. Because even when you feel your own stress, it's magnified. When you feel really happy, it's magnified, but when you feel really sad, it's magnified. And I would say to you guys, like, we need you here. We need you empaths here on this earth plane to counter the evil, to balance the scales, to push back against the bad. Because without the good people here, like me and other empaths and light workers and earth angels, without us here to raise the vibration of the collective, it's gonna be darkness alone. And yes, it already feels like hell on earth. This life feels like hell already. But every kind act that is carried out, it elevates the humanity here, you know, and that is so important. Every positive, energetic vibration really does elevate the collective and chip away at the evil. So we are so important, those good souls, those decent people. Even if we're just helping in little ways, the fact that you are here just existing, and you are good and you are decent and you are kind and pure of heart, and you really do want to be there for others, you know, it is important. You don't have to be a billionaire giving tons of money to charities. Just the fact that you go out into the world and don't do harm. You know, if you can't save everyone, which is impossible, at least don't hurt anyone. You know, if you can't help, at least don't harm. And you know, that's all I can really say. So thank you for listening, and if you like anything in any of my videos on my channel, Unconquerable Soul, I have to point out, I think I said unconventional soul on one of my on one of my videos, which is ridiculous. I don't know how I got my own channel name wrong. I must have been really tired because I tend to record sometimes at night, and so I'm probably a bit sleepy and I said the wrong channel name. So obviously it's not Unconventional Soul, it's Unconquerable Soul 1111. So please go to my channel, check out some of the other videos I've uploaded, and if you got anything good out of it, if you could relate, or if you felt any positive, you know, if you felt positive about anything I said, I would appreciate if you share it and like and subscribe. And I don't go live very often, but when I do go live, I will put a guest box link on there, so anyone can come into the guest box and talk about any issues they're having, or you know, just have a chat about a subject, whatever. But I'm gonna head off now. It's nighttime here in London, and so I'm very tired. But thank you to all the subscribers. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope that everyone everywhere has a great nighttime, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I wish you peace, love, light, and protection. God bless you all, and I hope you just know that you are good people, you are good souls. Carry on being the good, beautiful soul you are. Don't let this world convince you that you're not good enough. You are perfect just the way you are. You don't have to care about silly fake beauty standards, or trying to change your body, trying to bleach your skin, trying to change your hair. You don't have to do any of that. You just have to exist here. You are a spiritual being in a human body. You don't have to care about trying to change for superficial idiots who they will convince you to change and then mock you for the thing you changed into. So even when you go and change for these idiots who you shouldn't even care about, and I know it's not easy, some people don't have that inner strength to fight back and stand alone, but it is more important to do what's right for you and stand alone than follow the crowd and be unhappy anyway, because most people are doing things for an audience. Well, if you take the audience away, who are you trying to please? You need to please yourself. That's the only person. As long as you're not going around hurting people, abusing people, if you're just a normal, kind, regular soul, that is what you need to be proud of and nurture. The inside of you, the content of your character, the way you treat people, those things are more important than injections in your legs to make your bum rounder. Like, that is so unnecessary. And these things will just damage your health anyway. And for what? The same people who you were trying to impress will laugh at you regardless, because they're bad people, they're nasty people. They're hollow and insecure. So anyway, take care everyone, and bye for now.